Welcome, everybody, to the third episode of the Crypto Convo. My name's Liam, where we talk about crypto for normies with my co-host, Taiki. Today, we're going to be talking about something pretty exciting, for me at least, and kind of a continuation of our last episode. We're going to be talking about NFTs and how NFTs could impact the future and what they actually mean just beyond what we see going on with $69 million NFTs being sold at auctions. So Taiki, let's get this party started, man.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first heard about NFTs, I was like, okay, I mean, that's cool. It's a really good use case. I can see it used for like musicians and artists. I think recently there's been like a bunch of like new projects and like new NFTs that I think are just like gonna end badly, like Mooncats and like stuff like I feel like every other day there's like a new NFT like project that
Collection.
launches. And like to be honest, I kind of felt the FOMO, so I did invest in some new NFT project. Uh, we can talk about that later, but yeah, I think NFTs are here to stay. I think like with most crypto projects, like 90% of NFT projects will go to zero, but the ones that do survive, they're going to be like juggernauts, like OpenSea and like Nifty Gateway. Top Shot, I think, is also going to here to stay. So yeah, I think being in crypto allows us to understand NFTs better, and yeah, I do see a bright future ahead for NFTs. How about you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, my understanding, I'm not somebody I wouldn't say I'm like a big collector or anything. So I'm more over like function over form, I would say.
Yeah,
Right. So I feel like
same.
DeFi is the function of crypto and NFTs are like the form of crypto. But when you really look into it deeper and you learn more about it, just like anything in the crypto space, you do start to see the use case beyond just art and things like that. Because I remember back in 2017, I was in crypto back in 2017, not as heavily as I am today, but I remember, back then people always talking about, oh, they're going to tokenize society, tokenization. And I don't think really people really had like the answer to how that could happen. And so now that NFTs are around and I've learned more about NFTs, I think that is the pathway to tokenization of just things in life like mortgages, cars, car notes. And it's also a way to authenticate a lot of things. So that's really exciting for me. And then there's also obviously the benefits going to being used for right now in today's world is for artists, music artists, uh, illustrative artists, just general artists. And I think the ability for them to authenticate, so it's like a built-in authentication.
Mm-hmm.
And then also it allows them to collect the reoccurring royalties on
Yeah, that's a big one.
their yeah. So I see I guess it would allow basically starving artists a way to kind of not be starving so much anymore after a while. And that's, I think, what we saw happen with Beeple. He just sold his first 5,000 days. From what I understand, that was basically him making a piece of art every day for the last 5,000 days. And he probably didn't make a whole lot on those for probably the first 4,500 days he didn't make, or actually, I want to say probably the first 4,700 days he probably didn't make
Yeah,
anything on
definitely.
those. And so now, obviously he got a big payday and he's going to be
He's a
able to
rich
get
man.
paid. Yeah, he's a rich man. And I wouldn't doubt if that piece goes for over 300 million in the next decade.
Yeah, because he's like the original. Like he's like the original DeFi, sorry, NFT artist, right? Like I think he was making art since like 2017. I remember seeing some of his like NFTs and like they look really good, and he understands like Bitcoin. I listened to one of his podcasts. He doesn't really understand like the investment side, but he
Yeah.
understands like like crypto is here to stay, and like he gets the ethos. So you see him making like this like Elon Musk Doge artwork and like buying like crypto punks artwork. So like something that crypto Twitter and like that community understands. And I think a majority of the money, I mean, I think like 90% of people that like buy these things are from crypto, right? And
Mhm.
the majority of people, like a lot of people that buy this, like have gotten rich off crypto. Like they were either early on ETH or early on Bitcoin. So they're just
Right.
like, oh my God, I want to be a part of this. So they're just like buying these things for like millions, which is kind of insane. I can't really empathize with those people, but maybe in 10 years, it's like worth like 9 figures. And it's like, yeah, it's a good investment. It's scarce. Yeah. And so to go back on like what you said about music, I think that's like, I think music with NFTs is really important because for me, I'm a Kanye fan. I don't know if you listen to Kanye, but I like Kanye.
Yes, I do
Yeah,
love Kanye.
and he's been teasing Donda, like the new album, for like I don't even know, like months. I forget like when he first posted about it, but I think he tweeted like, "Oh, I'm not releasing Donda until like Sony Music or like whoever Warner Music Entertainment."
Releases his masters, right?
Yeah, or like like because
Re
he's like tweeting like, "Oh, the music industry's been fucking the artists for so many
yeah,
years. If they don't work with us, then I'm not going to release this and stuff like that." So
right.
if through NFT projects, I think Audius. I heard Audius. My friends invested in Audius. It's like
Mhm.
NFT for music, stuff like that. I think, or blockchain for music. I think those projects will accrue value, or maybe even Spotify integrates it, right? Like who knows? Maybe Spotify buys a DeFi, like a music NFT blockchain project that they can integrate. So yeah, tokenizing people, I mean, like art. I see a bright future for that. Have you heard of BitClout?
BitClout? No.
Okay. Did you know? But you know something about it, right? I saw you smile a little bit.
BitClout. No, I think I read a tweet about
Okay.
it. Maybe I think I
Let,
maybe saw
let
the
me share
name,
a
but I don't know
screen.
what it is.
Yeah. So this is literally like tokenizing people. Do you see my screen?
I can. It's loading right now.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
unlock features by buying our creator coin.
Yeah. So essentially, these are like
Oh,
Twitter, and like people are like, so I don't really know how it works.
yeah.
There's like this the BitClout coin,
Price.
and you can only buy this with Bitcoin, and you
Right.
can't withdraw. Uh, so if you put like $1,000 into BitClout, then you like there's no way to withdraw right now. So it's like kind of like
There's
a
no liquidity.
it's or it just literally doesn't allow you to withdraw. So it's like a dark hole, like a black hole for like Bitcoin.
Right.
So that's kind of sus. Like it's kind of sketch. But they're backed by like I think they're backed by Sequoia, like big investors, and you can essentially like speculate on like these Twitter accounts, right? Like obviously Elon has a $29 million market cap, and like I don't know Bieber, Katy Perry, I don't know this is Diamond. I don't even know what this is. Diamond Hands, Mr. Beast, Kim, Vitalik, like all these people, and the idea is like these creator coins. People are speculating that if you're like a top holder of Elon Musk coins, then Elon Musk can in the future maybe say like top 5 holders of my tokens can get like a private tour of like Tesla factory or something like Gigafactory.
Oh man.
But then this is pure speculation. I mean, like I have no idea what this like.
There's Kanye.
Oh yeah, there's Kanye here, and like I think people are just speculating on like people on this thing becoming big, and
Yeah. Well, I know I have
Michael
friends.
Saylor here.
Well, I actually really like this, and I'm gonna actually have to tell a colleague of mine about this because he literally said he's like, dude, back when, and he was talking about Kanye. He's like, if Kanye had a token like back in the like 5-10 years ago, he's like, I would have bought Kanye tokens.
Yeah, so you can buy a
Uh,
Kanye token for like 9K at a $1.5 million market cap,
is
which is
are
pretty
these
cheap if you think about
yeah
it
are
that way.
these yeah, especially if he's worth the 6 billion that he says he is. Are these tradable yet? Is there, or is like once you buy it, like you can't trade the creator coin at all? Like I know you said the Bitcoin you can't get out, but can you trade the coin?
I don't think so. I think whatever you put in, like you're just hoping that they don't rug pull and like
Yeah.
a few months from now it becomes valuable. I don't really know
Yeah.
how to read this, but I'm just saying like, and I think in terms of like investing, like if this is real over time and like it becomes big, then like you want to invest in like people like Logan Paul, who's like selling
Oh yeah.
NFTs left and right, Mark Cuban. I don't know why Trump is here, but people are buying Trump tokens. Like Yeah, like Dave Portnoy makes sense. Jack makes sense.
Joe Rogan,
Yeah, Kanye makes sense.
Gary V, Pomp.
Yeah, LeBron. So yeah, it's just speculation. I don't know. Let's go to page 5.
And I definitely see a bigger future beyond just a black hole.
Joe
I would
Biden.
have, I would, I would imagine one day these become tradable on like a open market token exchange. Probably you can be able to trade these on like some exchange one day. Um, because what gives, I guess it's an auction system is what sets their price now, whatever somebody's willing to pay, I guess. Like, is it
Yeah,
an auction? How does it work to
I
set the
think
price?
I think it's on like a bonding curve. Like the more people buy it, the higher it goes.
Yeah.
And I think you see this green check mark. Oh yeah,
Yep. That
so
means
this means that Chamath has claimed like this account on
nice.
Bitswap. And with that, if you don't have like a check mark, then it means that the artist or the person has not claimed it yet. So
Right.
if this person never claims it, then like it's actually worthless, right? Because there's nothing
Right.
you can't do anything with it. So you're just speculating that like the people that you invest in will probably claim it. Like I don't think Donald Trump will ever claim this token. I don't know. I don't know why
Probably not.
it's a top 20.
I doubt Joe Biden will either.
Yeah. So yeah. So some of these are like just pure Ponzi, but
And that's
I
really
mean,
interesting to see Katy Perry in the top 5 and Justin Bieber. What's up with that?
yeah,
And you know that's really interesting because that brings up, it's so cool. What I love about crypto is just how it can really, it's so inclusive of so many different groups of people. You know, like you have function people like us who like the financial aspect of crypto, but you have NFTs who are bringing in people like Beeple who have absolutely no idea how our side of crypto works, and we have a slight idea of how his side of crypto works.
mhm.
But it's all, we're all in the same city. You see, me and you, we're all in the same city.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so it's like we're all
We'll
our
be
own communities within one big community. And so I even brought up NFTs. I have a friend who's an artist, and I sent him links to like OpenSea and Rarible, and he was like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Bro, it's NFTs. Like, check it out." And now all he's doing is like posting his NFTs. I'm like, "Dude, that's so awesome." He's like in Discord groups about NFTs, like yeah, that's all he talks about now is NFTs because I sent him some of the websites, and he
Pornhub.
oh god, but yeah,
Masa-san.
so
Bezos. Yeah.
seeing that, seeing like so just like an example of that, like somebody, an artist that I know who's maybe a starving artist who now through NFTs and who's starting to collaborate with other NFT artists, and hopefully one day will get some exposure within the crypto community, and hopefully he won't be a starving artist so much anymore. So
Yeah.
we have like the DeFi side, the finance side, we have the art side, and then we also have the gaming. How do you feel about like gaming and being on blockchain? What's your thought process on that? Anything?
In terms of gaming, I see things like Decentraland. I see like videos of like the simulations, and it looks really cool. Um, it's sort of like virtual reality, right? Like that's the way I see. I guess it depends on like the platform, but I mean the idea with NFTs in gaming is that like if you buy like a skin on like some game, that can be an NFT that you can use in other games.
Hmm.
So like one purchase isn't stuck in this ecosystem; it can be used in all ecosystems. Um, I just like I don't know. Obviously, like games are really big, especially like during lockdowns, and it's only going to get bigger because people have gotten used to this lifestyle of like connecting with friends and like new people through games. Um, but in terms of investing, I feel like if I'm not investing in the equity of the company, I'm not really interested in like investing in like Decentraland, like mana tokens. Like I don't
Yeah.
really see how that token accrues value. Like just because something is a good project doesn't mean that like the token's gonna go up, right? I mean, people will speculate, but um, that's why I don't. Yeah, that's why I don't really invest in NFT projects
Hmm.
because like I don't really see like how like I can see the art having value, but like
Hmm.
NFT. tokens. I don't know. I'm still trying to learn more about the space. Like I said earlier in the beginning of the podcast, I did buy an NFT just because like this project, one of the founders said they're going to airdrop. So I'm like, okay, I'll just buy some NFTs. And like, even if the NFT goes to zero, maybe like I can sell the airdrop for some sums of money. So maybe I can break even. So, I'm just like trying to get more involved
Get more
in NFTs.
exposure.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
in the,
I
yeah. Sorry, but one last thing, like, because if the NFT that I hold like does 10x, then I'm like, oh, cool. Plus the airdrop, yeah.
Yeah, no, I recently I bought an NFT. I don't think it's anything that's going to be worth anything, but I just wanted to go through the process, get one in my wallet so that I can say that I have one and be hip and trendy, Uh but
Yeah.
no, for as far as the NFTs, so what I was doing yesterday and the reason what I was selling yesterday was actually so speaking of Kanye and NFTs, so Yeezys, like, cause I used to kind of have a shoe
Okay. Okay.
business. Yeah. Yeah. So I used to have a shoe business. So yesterday I was actually selling a bunch of, Jordans, Yeezys, et cetera, et cetera. And, one thing that I've really, cause a big problem, even in like the sneaker community, is the authentication of sneakers. There's a lot of fakes that are made
Oh
overseas and
yeah.
like imported and get mixed in with a bunch of real ones. I don't know if you're into the sneaker or know much about sneakers, but I really feel like NFTs for sneakers, like if Nike or Adidas like had a certificate, like an NFT certificate sold with each shoe, and then you could like register that, and then
Yeah. That's
upon
big.
per, like imagine if like especially not for every shoe, right? You don't want to do this for retail shoes, but especially the ones that have a lot of hype that are exclusive drops, stuff where the authenticity actually matters to collectors and people who purchase these shoes. Um, yeah, that would just be that's like one use case where I can see into the future, how shoe companies can start utilizing NFTs in that way to give the, just the buyer's peace of mind about authenticity, because that's the worst feeling, is like buying a expensive sneaker in hopes to like, be a collector or to resell it. And then you end up finding out that it's fake, because a lot of
Yeah.
sometimes these fakes can be really, really good. And even some of the best like authenticators can't even tell. So they're like, I don't know.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah. I don't know much about like reselling shoes and whatnot, but I know how big it is. Like I know people that like make a living doing stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it totally makes sense for like Supreme or Yeezys to like
Yeah.
issue like 1,000 shoes, and
Hmm.
each shoe has its unique NFT. And if you want to
Hmm.
resell it in the secondary market, you have to verify like here, this is the NFT code or so, like whatever it is.
Exactly.
And that I think that's actually going to like make the price of those shoes go up even more, because I think right now in the markets, like if you're like on whatever like platform to like buy shoes, like
StockX.
yeah, like you always have in the back of your mind like this could be fake, right? I mean, there's ways to validate like the seller and whatnot, but if you essentially eliminate like those doubts, then I feel like
Hmm.
the demand for those shoes will just go incredibly, like go up immensely. It's a really good
Hmm.
point. But like
And
sorry, this isn't a question for you, but in terms of like
yeah,
I see all these like fantastic use cases, and I do want to like own a piece in the NFT space.
yeah,
So like how would you like invest in like NFTs? Like sure you can invest in just like pure NFTs and hope they go up, but are
yeah.
there like projects that are like doing this that like sell me a project if you think you have one that you like.
Well, I mean, so you mentioned earlier that you want to get you don't invest into NFT projects, and I wanted to ask, so like you don't buy NFT governance tokens?
Yeah. I kind of misspoke because I just like I'm not educated enough to like invest in NFT tokens. Uh, I'm looking at this thing called NFTX,
Yeah.
which is a governance token to like make NFTs more liquid, which I think it's a terrific use case. And if it ever like dumps 80%, I'll definitely be buying those. But I just haven't I haven't encountered I haven't seen anything that like seems like it's useful. Um, Something that like
So I
generates
think
value.
I think the mindset that I have when it comes, so I have some exposure to some NFTs, and I have exposure to what's called. Do you know about Bondly?
I do not. Let me look that up.
Okay, so I have exposure to Bondly and to Portion. So Bondly, they did Logan Paul's NFTs. He partnered with
Okay.
Bondly, and they also did what's his name? Not Trey Songz. Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez actually dropped some NFT exclusive music with Bondly as well. So the reason I'm in Bondly is because I've seen these influencers partner with them and actually release NFTs and sell multi-million dollars worth of NFTs. And so I think one thing that you have to all keep in mind and kind of have the thought process of is pretty much every um, and this may be incorrect, but the way I think of it is, and I'm sure there's like a use case for Bondly, the token. I think you would actually exchange it to acquire certain NFTs. But and this may be wrong and it may be incompliant, but I almost feel like when you're acquiring a governance token, to a degree, it is like being a shareholder. And I don't know, maybe the SEC may one day try to classify um, certain tokens as securities, but I just feel like I'm getting exposure to the actual company because at the end of the day, it is a company that you're investing, that you have exposure to, right? Um, so that's kind of the way that I think about it, and that could be wrong. I could not be looking at it the right way. I'm sure I just haven't dived into the use cases of NFT assets or tokens like I have with DeFi. Right, I've been participating a lot in DeFi space, not so much into the NFT space quite yet. But that's kind of like what I imagine it as, is just exposure to the revenue that could be generated through these projects.
Yeah, and I see all these partnerships. Like I don't really know like the extent of like what all these do, but this is interesting. Logan Paul. I just
Tory
like remember.
Lanez.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. $1.3 million in 30 minutes. Like there's actual demand there, and you can argue that like this just means this is only because there's so much stimulus that happened recently.
Yeah, when he sold, I think he did way more than 1.3 for the total, but I think he did sell that much. I was like, who watches Logan Paul that has all this money? Like people were buying stuff for 1 ETH. I'm like, what 12-year-old has 1 ETH to buy an NFT from Logan Paul? But
I mean,
then I remember.
it could just be that like I mean this is kind of like a cynical way to think about it, but like maybe Logan Paul like has his own team that like bought their own things just because this publicity is good, right? Logan Paul sells $1 million of NFTs in half an hour. I mean, he's gonna get buzz
Possibly.
everywhere, and like
Possibly.
I'm sure most of the not I don't want to say most. I'm sure some of those sales were not organic, right?
Right.
Uh, it makes sense. From like a game theory perspective, it makes too much sense for like Logan Paul to like boost those numbers.
No, definitely. But
Yeah, these governance tokens are really tricky because it really is not equity, right? Like, I mean,
yeah.
if a VC wanted to invest in the equity of Bondly, they can like go to the team and invest in like direct equity. These
Yeah.
governance tokens are like a hopeful promise that in the future you can own these tokens to like vote on things. But how
Yeah.
valuable does that become? That's always like my dilemma with like these governance tokens. Like with KeeperDAO, like I really like KeeperDAO, but like Rook is a governance token, and like there's no way for me to know that there's going to be value to this. I'm just hoping that in the future I'll get dividends and stuff like that.
So if that's the case, would that actually, kind of going off topic here, if we voted, because I'm a keeper DAO holder as well, and we voted for like dividends, would that make it a security? How would that work?
Yeah, there's no way to know. Right? I mean, it kind of is a security in a way, but they can argue that like we like kind of airdropped these tokens, right? I mean, if people earn these through liquidity mining, we're not really selling these tokens to retail. Like I don't really know the legality
Yeah.
there, And the cool thing
Yeah.
about NFTs, like just art in general, like NFT
Oh,
art, is that it's not a security.
there's no way to classify it as a security.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
think
someone just made an art and they sold it in the open market. I mean,
it's
so
just like GameStop. I like the NFT. I like the token. I like the stonk.
yeah, I like the stock. It's like we're, we all like the stock, you know.
We all like the NFT. We all like the token.
Yeah. So
And
that's like the positive of like NFT art is that I don't really see any like regulation coming. Maybe for a governance token, like the governance tokens are like kind of in the gray area, but like for
yeah.
the art itself, it's like, you know, I like the art. I bought the art.
Exactly. And so kind of having a forward looking, because obviously NFTs are big right now in gaming, in music, art, with artists. And I feel like, culture always precedes like mainstream adoption. So we'll always see like pockets of people, because Bitcoin, like you said, I think the way you got into Bitcoin was through, because you play poker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I got introduced to Bitcoin through gaming. When I was in high school, I would play League of Legends and I'd have a group of friends and we'd be chatting about random stuff. And I
Mhm.
think a couple times, the Silk Road and the dark web came up and Bitcoin was included in that conversation. But, I was so young, I didn't have any money. I didn't know how to go about acquiring. I don't think Coinbase even existed at that time. Probably Mt. Gox is what was
Yeah.
around to acquire Bitcoin back then. But you always see, what goes on in the small niche communities is typically what starts. And here we are like 10 years later and now, well, maybe not. Yeah, well, 10 years actually. Yeah, 10 years, 8 to 10 years later, and now we have Tesla and big institutions buying Bitcoin when it was a conversation about how to get drugs on the Silk Road and the dark web, 5 to 10 years ago.
Yeah. Bitcoin's so funny because like the collective crypto community like memed a currency into existence. Because like currencies only like stuff like commodities like gold, right? It only has
Mm,
value because people think it has value and people like
mm.
buy it. And there's like an endless
Pe-
bid.
Peter Schiff would say otherwise.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that guy's nuts. But and now like a bunch of Zoomers and millennials has just memed Bitcoin into existence at what is the price now, like 57K, because
Yeah,
we all think it has value. And like, I mean, I think it has value because of all the marketing and the memes the Bitcoin community does, and like I'm fully bought in. Uh,
I would say that's more Doge than Bitcoin.
like meming, I mean, Doge is not a currency. I mean, everyone knows it's not a currency. It's just a meme, and like people are speculating. Doge is just a speculative that like Elon's gonna do something with it. Like Elon's gonna make Doge
I
like. I mean, and isn't Doge like incredibly inflationary? I don't think it
oh
has a
yeah.
cap. So like,
Oh yeah, but Mark Cuban, I don't know if you know, but he actually started accepting Dogecoin for as payment for the Dallas Mavericks. So
oh
he's
yeah,
actually
yeah, but I mean, he knows it's a meme though. I mean, Mark, he's pretty crypto native now. He knows a lot about the space.
oh
More
yeah,
than
for sure.
I think 80% of like people that like
But I would
actually know
definitely
crypto.
say Bitcoin has more. I think there's more more hard evidence that Bitcoin has value than something like Dogecoin, which I think I don't know what's the bigger meme, Bitcoin or Doge?
I mean, obviously it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's $1 trillion asset. I mean,
Yeah,
Doge is. I mean, Doge might be like a top 100 coin in perpetuity, but it's just like
I know you're
it
cringing
has no
inside right
value.
now.
Yeah, I mean, if you really think Doge is going to go to $1, then like go for it. I mean, yeah.
Oh no, I don't own any Doge, but for the average person, that's how they either get connected through Bitcoin or through Doge, and I feel like so I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and obviously they don't know a whole lot, and they don't really talk about use cases, but they love Doge, and I think a lot of people get into crypto through Doge, and so if it's a bridge to the crypto world, I love it. So we got to
Yeah,
embrace it.
yeah. I mean, I don't want to sound like a Doge bear. I mean, but like, I have nothing against Doge. I think Doge is good. It's funny. Like, it's like a lighthearted way to like think about crypto. And the
But
funny thing about Doge is like the creator of Doge, like he hates Doge. He just made it as a joke, and like he hates how it's so valuable because like I don't know. I think there's like an interview on him about
yeah,
him. He's like, oh my god, like why does this thing have value? But I
because
mean,
it's culturally relevant and it's a meme. And I know you've talked about memes and culture and crypto Twitter
yeah,
and how that all, front runs adoption. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously Doge is a good example, but I think with NFTs, the same thing, we're seeing adoption with artists and gamers, and, that's just, I
yeah,
don't know, it might not turn into much, but maybe it could turn into something. I mean, what do you feel
yeah.
like? What's your thought process on all that?
Yeah, I see memes as like a marketing tool, right? Because someone creates a funny meme and like, it goes viral, right? And information spreads that way, especially on Twitter and like social media. You just tag people and things and share it and retweet, etc. So if like a community creates a successful meme, whether it be Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, like NFTs, and people find it relevant, culturally relevant, and like funny, then it like spreads through society, and over time, like as memes become more popular, like it becomes ingrained into your head. I mean, Bitcoin had this meme, like the money printer go over meme for like since 2010, right? I mean, since the financial crisis. I mean that they've been trying to spread that meme. I mean, obviously the narrative changes. They first thought it was going to be money, and now it's just like digital gold, and like that digital gold meme is in culture for until it died, probably, like as long as like the current financial system isn't still in place. Like the money printer grow burr meme is just like it's so easy to understand, and it's funny too because like you can like put Janet Yellen or Jerome Powell or like Joe Biden's face on like the money printer guy who's cranking, it's just like the economy is tanking, so I have to print more money, and it's kind of satirical in a way where it pokes fun at like the current financial system, and it kind of leads to the thinking that if you want to save your wealth or if you want to make money off of like these old people doing these dumb things, then you should buy Bitcoin. So that's the way I think about memes. It's a way that information spreads through society, especially people our age. Creative, like successful memes are like everything. I mean, I made the most viral video that I made was like the meme video of like me having diamond hands on Rook. It's a total joke, but like the idea that like I have so much conviction in this project. I don't care how low it goes. I'm just gonna keep buying with my diamond hands, etc. It's like just things that people resonate with that spread awareness into a coin. That's the way I think about memes. When I first saw memes, I was like, what the fuck? Like this is a joke. And then over time, I
Yes,
see
it
memes
is a
everywhere.
joke, but
But
it's
yeah,
not.
that's
It's
the
not
point. Yeah,
though.
it's a joke that like
But it's
has like a
not.
subtle message. Every meme has like a subtle message.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, it's just so cool, and us being in this generation. When I was in like middle and high school, I think I was on 9gag a little bit, and I know some friends on 4chan and Reddit, and so it's just crazy how our generation communicates with each other, and now we're turning memes into NFTs. Did you see the Bad Luck Brian sold as an NFT for like $40,000?
No, I did not. I'll look it up right
Yeah.
now.
So Bad Luck Brian, that meme sold as an NFT for $40,000. So now we're fusing memes and NFTs all into one.
Oh,
And
yeah, this one.
yeah, and
28.
so yeah, if you want to show the audience this so they know what we're talking about, in case they're a boomer, they don't know what Bad Luck Brian is.
Yeah, one sec. And I saw the Nyan Cat, like the Pop Tart cat,
Nyan, yeah,
sold for a lot too. And this one.
Bad Luck Brian for $36,000.
Wait,
Oh
insane.
man, yeah, we
I mean,
can
I
see
can see it. I mean, in like 50 years, maybe like if this meme is still relevant, then like
it.
I can totally see this having value. It's just yeah, it's kind of insane.
So let's talk about some real life use cases of NFTs. Do you know of any? I mean, obviously we used the shoe example, but what else? I mean, what else could that be what other industries and communities could the NFTs be implemented in where they'll have a solid use case and maybe even more? Because you could, shoes, it's not really a useful thing, I would say. But
Yeah, I know one. So we already talked about music, but I think Mark Cuban talked about it. But like ticket sales, right? Like
yeah.
maybe like, so think about like that Dallas Mavericks stadium. Like every seat has an NFT, right? And like that's a ticket.
Yeah.
And like maybe every time it sells, and like this NFT ticket like gets redistributed to like new customers for every Dallas Mavericks game, and for every sale, maybe the Dallas Mavericks get like a percentage cut of that sale. And if you think about like buying tickets for like even like concerts, raves, or like sports games, it's like I think like Ticketmasters, like they really take a huge cut out of like every sale. I have to pay like $30 in fees. It's kind of annoying. And I know ticket scalpers. I don't know if you know about these scalping bots, but there are bots that like buy everything, like buy all the tickets, like when it like first launches in like its original website, and then resells it in the secondary market for like 50% markup or whatever.
That happens in the shoe industry as well.
Okay,
Same
okay,
thing.
yeah. So I can totally see like the Mavericks offering, like converting all of its seats into NFTs and integrating the NFTs into like the Dallas Mavericks website. Um,
And
I don't really know how it solves the secondary market issue, but
well, I
maybe
was
it's a
gonna
more efficient
say
system.
the value prop for like a shoe company or like ticket sales. So like obviously when a shoe sells for retail, or we'll use the tickets, like obviously the creator of the ticket, like the Mavericks, they don't get any value from the resale market, right? They don't get any revenue from that.
Yeah,
So I
only from the
think,
initial sale.
yeah. And same thing with the artists. And so this is any community where there's a secondary resale market. I think NFTs has that value prop because it allows that ecosystem to, some people are a fan of that ecosystem. It's kind of like high frequency traders and Wall Street and stuff like that, like the arbitragers. So it allows the secondary market to continue to exist, but it also allows the initial companies to still get
Yeah, that makes sense.
a value add from that secondary market where they're not getting it now. Um, but I would say even beyond that, let's talk about, because obviously sporting events, like all this stuff makes us feel good. But like, let's talk about like mortgages, like housing NFTs, and like, do you know about
So,
that?
like tokenizing your house.
Yeah.
I actually know a friend. I do another podcast called the Web 3.0 podcast, and I do it with a buddy named Spencer, and he works in like the real estate like tech, and he's trying to integrate blockchain to his industry. I don't really know the specifics behind that, but yeah, tokenizing your house, like, so I'm just imagining like let's say I own $1 million house, I'll tokenize it, and it's on the blockchain. There's only one uh, NFT for my house, right? And maybe I can deposit that into like some collateral, and like take loans out of it. Like, is that what you're thinking? Like, I don't first, I don't know.
That's
What's the use
one.
case?
Yeah. So actually NFTing, and this ties into governments. Like, just think about how slow the government is when it comes to like locating files and like records,
Yeah,
right?
it's paperwork.
Yeah, it's all paperwork and it's just really slow and outdated, right? Compared to, what we're used to as far as being able to Google something. But basically like like creating a mortgage or like the deed to a property into an NFT that's stored on a, public blockchain that the government kind of is on, and just being able to locate records and things a lot quicker. Um, I read an article, somebody actually did tokenize their house and they sold like half of it as a token, but I guess it's like a rental property. So basically what somebody did is they fixed the house and I guess what they're doing is they're getting shared equity. and somebody, so they're de-risking themselves because they're sharing it with somebody else, but somebody else gets the benefit of like getting parts of the revenue generated from the tenants of the home, right? So, and then you were saying something even cool, using your token as collateral. Yeah. And so that goes back into like the DeFi thing, the process, I don't own a home, but as far as I know, like just the whole process when it comes to home buying is very slow and clunky, right?
The banks, the bonks, as
The
you like to say.
bonks, yeah, the bonks really slow it down. And so if we get to a point where we're tokenizing real assets, like unique assets, that's what NFTs are. In case we should have
Yeah.
probably said that earlier, but yeah, NFTs are basically just a unique variation. It's a digital asset that is just a one of one. It's non-fungible, so it means like a dollar is exchangeable for a dollar in your hand is exchangeable for a dollar in my hand, but one NFT in my hand is not equivalent to one NFT in your hand. So that's really the difference. And so you can literally do that with every home because every home has a different address. There's like there's no duplicate property that has the same address anywhere in the world. And even if it does have the same street name, obviously it's going to have a different zip code or a different city or a different state. So
Yeah,
there's
makes sense.
every piece of property is technically an NFT. And so it would just make especially the real estate business that much more efficient. And I don't know the whole specifics. I know a little bit about real estate. I know it's a long process, but if we could just streamline that in the record location of of government documents, that goes into the whole legal system.
I can imagine, like, so let's say I own a home. Like, I don't own a home, but let's say I own a home, and let's like we're like 50 years out, and like every house is like tokenized, right? At least in
Yeah,
like the city of like San Francisco or whatever. And
right.
instead of if I want to like retire and sell my home, like, instead of having to go through Zillow or like some bank to like process the transaction, I can just hand over my NFT for my house to a buddy, to like someone who wants to buy it in exchange for like 10 Bitcoin or something, right? And then like that's the sale right there. I mean, you
Yeah.
can do like over the counter sales of houses. I'm sure you can do that with cash right now, but
Oh yeah. You can definitely. It's just a little harder, but really, it's just the streamlining of things because it'll really streamline the legal system as well, especially. And I think the Graph and Parsec are two protocols. If as these housing legal system as they start integrating with blockchain, and I think those are kind of two protocols that could help streamline the
the graph is
process.
really cool because if every house is tokenized on the blockchain, then you can like use the graph to find out, okay, like this is legit, like this person actually owns the home. I'll pay this man 10 Bitcoin in exchange for this like property rights to this home. And then like I just own the house. Like as soon as I transfer ownership of property, which is NFT, then there you go. I mean, there's no bank needed, there's no intermediary needed. And that's like the whole DeFi ethos, right? Like, why do we need these intermediaries? Let's just rely on code. And that's extremely powerful because then like you get to take out all the paperwork in the middle, all the fees, all the hassle, the paperwork, and just really
reduce it at least.
More efficient. Yeah,
yeah, streamline things. And kind of what you said earlier about selling your NFT. Yeah, and yeah, that's another thing, like streamlining the process of refinancing your home if you want to get equity out of your home. It's because you're working with banks and bonks. It's just such a slow process. So NFTing that is super exciting as well. I think that's like, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of things that, but I think the legal system, just NFTing documents and just making it, because I don't know if you've ever used like a county. Have you ever tried to like use a county website to like search for property and like, you should go to one after this, or it's very, very like you go back to the 1990s, early 2000s.
Yeah, government websites are so bad. I always talk about like how the internet has caught up with every industry except finance and government. I don't know when that transition is going to happen, but
it's probably going to take 50 years for government to be
Yeah.
caught up to where we are now. And in 50 years, we're going to be way ahead of this.
Yeah. This is so slow.
So, yeah, that's the biggest thing with NFTs. And that's the whole crypto is just efficiency, streamlining, less friction. So ticket sales, shoes, I mean, these are all like extracurricular, but as we see it, I think it'll probably be like 10 or 20 years before we really start seeing it take a hold in mainstream, like mortgages, legal, healthcare. Oh, that's another thing, like insurance, right? And I don't know. I don't know the intricacies of insurance, but I know that's another industry that it's threatening to decentralize power or shift power away from.
Mhm.
And so, like going back to the Kanye argument, NFTs are going to help redistribute power from record labels, because we know record labels, they don't have the best reputation when it comes to music artists. A lot of the stories come out about how they're screwing over music artists. And
Yeah.
SoundCloud, that's one reason we've seen SoundCloud kind of come to popularity over the last decade, 5 to 10 years. And I think NFTs on top of that is kind of just the next level, the next embarkment, the next layer, because we like to talk in layers in crypto.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, like right now, right, March of 2021, like all the hype isn't like NFT art, but
Mm-hmm.
like I think the majority of the value for NFTs are going to come from like B2B, like those industries. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's the art market's going to be huge, right? I mean, it's already
Yeah.
huge because it's like a store value and like it's like I think it's like tax efficient in some way, but
Yeah.
like all these use cases, whether it be real estate, music, entertainment, insurance, I don't, I don't, I doubt that any DeFi project today will solve those problems. I think like over time, like people
Mm-hmm.
will like improve upon like the mistakes of like Nexus Mutual and like create some new way and like hire someone from like Geico to like really like build out the infrastructure and stuff like that. So it's gonna take time, but yeah, I think anything. I think the blockchain, right, just in general, is gonna just improve anything in finance, and I think that's the whole like the ethos of DeFi. It's like just put everything on finance onto the blockchain, make things more efficient, and everybody wins, right? Except the
Mm-hmm.
bankers, because then they might lose their jobs. But over time, it's just better for the world, and
Mm-hmm.
I think people are slowly recognizing that and the power
And I
of like
think,
this Ethereum. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's one reason why because I know last episode and we talk about like what if this bull market doesn't see 80 to 90% crash like it did previously. And I think for me at least, the one reason I don't think we're going to see that severe of a crash is because we are seeing all this institutional money come in. We got people like Chamath and Mark Cuban, and they're even talking about NFTs and they're bullish NFTs. Gary V. So there's just so much like mainstream adoption, and I don't think there was that much back in 2017. Granted, I wasn't as heavily involved back then, but I don't remember hearing any big institutions or big money people getting involved in crypto in 2017. So I think that's the big difference today. And like I said earlier, there's just so many avenues that people, because there's so many ways to get to the center, but the center is the technology, the distributed ledger technology, the blockchain technology. That's really at the core is what's the most important. And so just all these different avenues that are opening up, whether that's through gaming, art, finance. And I know those are the most popular ones right now. I'm sure we're missing some, but it just creates, it's the same city, just different ways to get to the center.
Yeah. 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 I mean, for Bitcoin to reach 20K, like there have to be like institutions coming in, right? Because
Yeah.
people like you and I, there's no way to move Bitcoin from 20K to 60K. So, I mean, it's incredible how it seems like Bitcoin's programmed to just keep going up in value, um, which is crazy to see. But it's also a bad thing to like assume that institutions will never sell. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure some of them like just see it as a trade. They're gonna buy like $10 million of Bitcoin and like hold it for 3 months and like sell it and like go back to like buying bonds or something. So people like I don't think people like Tesla and like obviously Michael Saylor, like I don't think they'll ever sell. There's like their hands are so strong, but yeah, it's going to be a dangerous proposition if like let's say if Bitcoin goes to 300K and everyone's like, oh my god, institutions, they're never going to sell. That's yeah, saying never is always a dangerous thing. But
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
so bullish, so bullish. Like, everything in crypto moves so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like a year, like let's say like 6 months before, like 6 months ago, like I was like for sure gonna sell Bitcoin at 100K, but now like I can't even imagine doing that. And though it's logical, right? Like if you understand crypto, it's logical to not want to sell, but it's also kind of scary because I just keep pushing the goalpost further and further, and at some point I might get wrecked. But
Yeah.
it's conviction, right? It's conviction, and Max Payne is selling too early.
Well, I would say we've broke $1 trillion, and we're kind of going around, floating around that above or below the last couple of weeks. But I think the next goalpost is 10 trillion and flipping gold.
Yeah, I think it's
But
inevitable. It just depends how long it takes. You know, we think it's
yeah,
going to happen in 5 years, but it might take 50 years. Who knows?
yeah,
I'm more in the bullish camp, obviously. I think
I
like
think it'll happen within a
500.
decade.
I think 500K is inevitable. It just depends how it gets there.
Yeah. But the thesis of this conversation is, memes, cultures, NFTs. And the point is, sometime in the future, whether that's 10, 20, 30 years, all this technology that we are actively talking about right now is just going to be so integrated into our lives that we won't know the difference.
Yeah, I mean that's
And
if DeFi is ever successful, it has to be that way, right? Like people shouldn't have to use MetaMask to like do everything. Like there should be like a centralized, in my opinion, there should be like a centralized wallet that has a really nice UI UX that like handles all like the clinkiness of like depositing and staking into Aave, and like
yeah,
Coinbase can just like one click deposit money into
yeah.
Aave for like 3%
And
APY, stuff like that.
that's what Top Shot has done really well. One of the reasons that Top Shot has been so successful, the NBA Top Shot, as far as selling the NBA NFTs, is because they don't require, it's a fiat on ramp. So you literally just buy the NFTs for cash. You don't have to
Yeah,
buy
yeah.
Ethereum to buy the NFT. So they've really reduced the friction of somebody who's an NBA fan that may not know about blockchain. And that's a prime example, right? So somebody could be an NBA fan. They see these NFT, like they see this NBA Top Shot. They may not even know what an NFT is, but they think it's cool. They go to the website. It says, put in your card to buy this. And they buy it with their debit card, and they get the product that they want. But by the way, this person never knows that that whole transaction is happening on Ethereum or on blockchain. So that's where we're going to get to at some point, where
Do you see my
people,
screen?
yeah, we see NBA Top Shot, and that's because
So much volume.
it's a fiat on ramp, dude. There's no, like, go to their, if you buy, you don't have to use a wallet. You just use your debit card. And those people don't even know that they're buying blockchain based products. So
Yeah,
that's really,
there's so many sales going on, and like these are all like low volume, like $20, and like these are like tiny transactions, but there's so much volume. And I was looking into investing into the Flow blockchain
yeah,
because the Top Shot is on like the Flow blockchain.
right.
But yeah, I mean, when I first saw Top Shot, I saw it like really early on because I'm in a Discord group with like poker players, and they were just like punting money into Top Shot, and I think someone bought like Zion Dunk. Was
Oh
that Zion block
man.
for like 10K? Like this guy
Oh
bought
man.
10K, and he was like, "Dude, I just bought this Zion for 10K," and I think he sold it at like 20, 30K, or I forget, something like
Yeah.
that. And now it's like, I think Zion, like that top shot in particular is like 80K or like some insane number. And there's like these like Giannis Euro step dunks and like crazy stuff like that. I wish I got in. I mean, obviously, I wish I got in, but I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna stick to like Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah.
But
No, but no, but yeah, like Top Shot is the prime example. Is when people can go to Aave and they just connect their bank account, or when they go to all these different protocols. I think they might have to do KY. Well, how does that work? So I've never bought anything on Top Shot, but I know all you do is and that's the reason, like Mark Cuban stuff. All you do is go there and you put in your credit card and you buy it. So
yeah, I don't think there's KYC. You just have to pay like insane fees, and I
yeah,
think there's like
obviously.
a daily withdrawal limit of like $1,000 or something. Which is
Yeah,
kind
I
of weird.
have heard about that. That's a concern that some people have had.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think they'll rug pull, but they can rug pull. Yeah,
But they're partnered.
they're not going to rug pull because
No, they can't rug pull. They're partnered with the NBA. I don't think. I mean, I
yeah,
guess they could rug pull, but that would be a very bad decision to do that if
yeah,
you're partnered with the NBA.
definitely.
And they're not even in Asia. So, and I know there's a big basketball market in
China,
Asia. Yeah, China. So once they get over to China, we're going to see a lot more. And they just make it so easy. Just pop in your credit card, and now you have your collector's card. It's basically just like having a collector. It's like having any other sports card, except for it's digital, and it's, instead of it being stagnant, it actually is moving, and it's a highlight. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So I think as we see more protocols do that, like the Bondleys, and when things are, because they denominate things, I think, in dollars on their site. So you don't even know. Like I said, that's the biggest sign, is like when people don't even know, like they're using blockchain or Ethereum or whatever.
Mainstream.
That's when it's going to go mainstream. And so that's what I'm bullish for, and that's what I'm excited for, and that's how I see the NFTs in the future. I think everything, not everything will become a token, right? You can't put everything on a blockchain. You can't tokenize everything, but I think you can for a majority, probably like 60 to 80% of things can probably be tokenized and put on the blockchain. How about you? What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's like some things in finance should be centralized, right? I mean, not everything has to be decentralized. So yeah, some things, some industries, I think the music industry for sure has to be on the blockchain over time. Just don't know how long it takes. And for me, like I am bullish in NFTs. I just like don't know how to. I just don't know how to invest in that ecosystem right now, because I don't want to invest in art, because I feel like in individual art, because like how am I supposed to know like which one's going to be more valuable? I'd rather invest in like the infrastructure. I just like don't know. Maybe like if OpenSea ever airdrops like tokens or Nifty Gateway, maybe I'll FOMO into like that airdrop or like that token release. But yeah, I'm just like trying to think of ways to get a piece of the action into NFTs. Yeah, I mean, we already talked about this earlier. Like, how do we get a piece of it? But yeah, I'm constantly on the lookout for infrastructure plays in the NFT space. Maybe I should invest in Audius, AUDIUS.
Yeah, I'm gonna check into that after this.
Yeah, because my friend's in it, and he's like showing me like to oblivion, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna buy this yet. But it keeps pumping. I'm like, all right, yeah, it's on my watch list.
Sweet. Well, hey, I think we're wrapping up around an hour, so it's been a good conversation for normies, at least, right? So hopefully the normies who watch this, like us, get some value, get some insight, get some just get their mind flowing with some juices about what is possible when it comes to just mainstream adoption, especially with NFTs and memes and culture, and how it just that's one thing you got to look at. And that's one thing Gary Vee talks about, is just like, hey, look, like if you pay attention to what culture is doing, like you're going to see what the heck's going to happen in the future. Like it's almost like a crystal ball. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. This was episode 3 of the Crypto Convo. Until the next episode, hodl on.